we're still reacting to what we saw in ESPN studios yesterday and in El Segundo at the Lakers facility yesterday. In subsequent order, Magic Johnson, arguably the greatest Laker of all time, which is funny because the great Lakers have had Wilt, Kareem, Kobe, Shaq, Jerry freaking West, Elgin freaking Baylor, George freaking Mikan, right? Smoosh freaking Parker. These are Chris freaking Mim. Hey, don't kid on Chris Mim. He was a beast in college. Okay? They've had some dudes now, and I could make the argument that Magic Johnson is the greatest Laker of all time, which makes what he did yesterday even more sinister. In their time of great need, after the 6 worst years in the history consecutively of the franchise. 6 years. They have the worst record in the NBA over the last 5 years. Think about that. It's crazy. In their time of despair, Magic Johnson did what you're never supposed to do. Well, actually, he did what people always do. You know when they always say, like, hey, no disrespect? What's the next thing coming out of their mouth? Something disrespectful, right? Listen, I'm not a racist, but something racist is coming out. Listen, no offense, but something offensive is going to... So when he says, like, I just want to thank Jeannie Buss, I love Jeannie Buss, like he just started like, uh-oh. He calls Rob Pelinka a backstabber several times by name and then points out the ineptitude of other people who the rest of the world don't even know exist that operate within the Lakers franchise. Putting, by his estimation, facts to the general belief that it's a dysfunctional group. You might have thought it was a dumpster fire, but now you know it's a dumpster fire. Listen, I rarely agree with crazy Rob Parker, but he said in The Odd Couple, I was driving home yesterday, and he's like, hey, I would take down that statue out in front. And you know what? I think you're right. Like, you did harm to the franchise on national television. It's not like you told one guy. It's not like you went up. It'd be bad enough if you went up and told Kawhi Leonard, you know, I ain't part of that. It's a mess. But he basically said, you don't want any part of that. It's a mess to everybody who's out there in the greatest free agent summer of the NBA. And it wasn't like they fired him. Nobody fired him. And he might have believed that he didn't have as much power as he wanted to have. But he was, in fact, given clearance to fire Luke Walton. And Luke Walton was fired as he wanted. And all the picks and all the trades and the things that wanted to happen, like, he did it. There might have been more checks and balances than he felt comfortable. And Magic Johnson pulled his own ripcord. He did the, I'm out. And I know that some of you are sitting there going, well, LeBron's kind of a sympathetic figure here. He was just trying to get some shots up yesterday in the background. Meanwhile, they're introducing Frank Vogel. LeBron's got blood on his hands. Who are we kidding? Look, the first mistake made in the LeBron James era was made by Magic Johnson when he shows up at LeBron's home without Rob Pelinka as general manager and without his head coach, Luke Walton. That was his pitch was, I got this. Which, of course, means that Luke's not his guy, and Rob doesn't have ultimate power, ultimate say. He's just a guy. Don't worry about it. I got it. But LeBron could have, at that point in time, goes, hey, you know, I'd love to meet Luke. He lives down the street. Why don't you text him? It's 9:00. I'm sure he's up. Right? Rob may live in Newport Beach, but Hell, he'd borrow the Mamba chopper, be up here and fire that thing up, be up here in 15 minutes. Even in a car, he'd be here in an hour. Magic was there for 3 hours. LeBron got on a plane shortly thereafter, if you remember, and flew to Europe. Magic, after putting together the team that he thought could compete with the Warriors, got on a yacht and was gone for 5 weeks. And then yesterday, LeBron had a chance to take some sort of ownership of the situation. To do the Pee Wee Reese. Right? Do you guys know the Pee Wee Reese story? First ever black player in baseball was Jackie Robinson, right? Did you guys know Jackie Robinson hit .091 his last year at UCLA? Crazy. So many unbelievable stories. The famous Pee Wee Reese story is Jackie Robinson, his first year, was playing, obviously, for the Brooklyn Dodgers. They're playing in Cincinnati. If you've ever been to Cincinnati now, you know Cincinnati borders Kentucky. You know, there's some rednecks in Cincinnati. There's rednecks and idiots everywhere. Not every redneck is a racist. Okay? Not every person that lives in the north or in a liberal state is not a racist. Racists are everywhere, especially if you go back to that era. But it was Cincinnati. It was seen as a tough place to play, and they were giving Jackie Robinson the business. And Pee Wee Reese, while they're warming up, goes over, puts his arm around Jackie Robinson, completely diffusing the situation. He's with me. And among the things that LeBron has done wrong during his first year, obviously he wants attention. That's why he comes out when he's injured. He comes out after the game has already begun. Waits till there's a lull in the crowd, and then LeBron James come walking out. Why? So he can get his own ovation. Likes attention. That's why there's the social media posts. That's why there's I'll take questions on Twitter. Like, hey, I'm still LeBron. Hey, I'm still here. Like, he likes attention, which is why he was there yesterday. Just so happened to I'm just getting some shots up while they're doing a press conference. Really? But he could have done the Pee Wee Reese. Walk over to Frank Vogel. Frank Vogel's doing a press conference. They're up there. They're sweating. Rob Pelinka's dodging bullets left and right. And Frank Vogel's sitting up there going like, just please ask me a question. Please ask me a question. But he didn't. Take a listen to Bill Oram, who covers the Lakers for The Athletic, when he joined us yesterday.
We know who LeBron expected to be coaching him next season, and it was Ty Lue. And Frank Vogel was probably going to be part of that as an assistant, or there was definitely movement in that direction. But for LeBron's guy to basically look at the Lakers and say, no, I don't want any of that. You guys are too disrespectful, too nuts, has to color the way LeBron looks at this team and this organization. You know, he kind of dipped his toe in today, like you said, by coming to Frank Vogel's introductory press conference. But there was no walking past the media and giving a thumbs up and saying that he loved Frank. He didn't stop by and give Frank Vogel a hug that we saw, at least. So that question is going to linger until we hear from LeBron, or LeBron comes out and says something. But you go back to last year, LeBron refused to give Luke Walton that vote of confidence that everyone was looking for all season long.
I mean, look, he had a second chance here. He had a second opportunity. And even a vote of confidence, like, we don't hold you to that. We don't. What happens in sports usually when a guy gets a vote of confidence? He gets fired like 2 weeks later, right? It's called the dreaded vote of confidence for a reason. But you're LeBron James. It's already gone bad with one coach. You got 3 years left on a contract with the Lakers. You're on your second coach. You have no president. Magic Johnson just napalmed the place. And you can't just go up. All you got to do is hop on the back of the stage and go like, hey, fellas, just want you to know I'm here for Frank. You know? Well, you could say something funny. Like, you can't beat him, you join him, huh, Frank? Ah, ha, 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 ha. And if you think, well, he wouldn't know how to answer those questions. Have you ever listened to LeBron James? Look, I did the NBA draft for, I think, 12 years. 12 years. 9 at ESPN, then we did special shows for it other times. And we actually did it 1 year here, but I've been to 12 NBA drafts. Talked to all those players. The single best interview, the guy who had the the greatest control over a room of any time I'd ever done it was a high school kid from Akron, Ohio named LeBron James. He was 18 years old, and you're like, that guy's shoes squeak differently than everybody else's. His answers are different. The suit fits him different. It's a different tone to his voice, different confidence. He might use the wrong syntax, but there was still an elegance to the way in which he handled himself with the media. You mean to tell me that he couldn't hop up there, say something funny, even a little bit awkward, put his arm around Frank and do the Pee Wee Reese? He's with me? I'm really sorry. I don't feel sorry for him. Dude, you did this to yourself. And you're continuing to create and foster an environment where no one knows what you want. And if you don't get what you want, we feel like you shut down on us, which is going to cause people to go the other way. Missed opportunity, but not a chance, in my mind, to feel any sympathy for LeBron James.